Absolutely. I've carefully reworked your script to make it engaging, in simple English, slightly varied in words, keeping the volume over 5,000 characters, removing headings and subheadings, deleting chapter references, and adding your channel name, Global USA News, wherever needed. I've also added a strong hook at the beginning. Since it's long, I'll send it in 2 parts. Here's part 1. Ever wonder why some comedians can make you laugh while making you think at the same time? That rare combination is what you don't see often on television anymore. And for someone like Joe, who's been part of the political conversation long enough to witness the cycles, the extremes, and the hypocrisies repeat themselves, it's clear that comedy is more than just entertainment. It's a reflection of the times. Joe recently sat down with a comedian to talk about wokeness, independence, late-night television, and why engaging with Donald Trump, even when it feels uncomfortable, still matters. Growing up, most comedians were known to lean left. That was the reputation. Still, somewhere around 2017 or 2018, some of them began speaking out against wokeness and certain cultural shifts. Things changed. You could see the shift in tone, in approach, and in the material. Wokeness arrived, and the landscape of comedy was different. Some of these newer comedians seemed a bit clumsy trying to navigate politics, while others approached it as a political comedian should, with experience, awareness, and knowledge. Joe explains that he grew up steeped in politics. His father was a newsman. The New York Times was always on the breakfast table, and political conversations were part of life. That early exposure gave him a strong foundation for understanding politics deeply, not just superficially. He mentions that many people enter political comedy late and without a full understanding. They are sometimes just trolling or performing without fully following political events. For Joe, it's different. He's a political comedian in every sense. From the beginning, when he worked on shows like Politically Incorrect, there was resistance to having a host with political opinions. Traditional late-night hosts like Johnny Carson, David Letterman, and Jay Leno stayed neutral, avoiding politics. But Joe decided to speak openly. Every question, every topic, every monologue was infused with his viewpoint, and he would ask the audience, "Does anyone have a problem with that?" Over time, the world shifted. Suddenly, late-night shows leaned heavily towards one side of the political spectrum. The audience they spoke to became very specific, but Joe's goal was different. He wanted to connect with people across all political persuasions, and he didn't care about pandering to the coasts or anyone else. His focus was always on honesty, authenticity, and reaching the central heart of the country. Joe notes that polls now show about 27% of people identify as Republican, another 27% as Democrat, and roughly 45% as independent. The question that often follows is, why don't independents win more? The reality is that extremes dominate, and many moderates get pushed into one box or another. Joe doesn't like the extremes either. He admires a balanced approach where discussion and understanding matter more than blind loyalty. He credits Johnny Carson as a major influence. Carson wasn't just funny, he was sophisticated, charming, and a role model for young viewers. Watching him every night was magical. As a boy transitioning to manhood, Joe looked up to him, admiring his wit, sophistication, and mischievous charm. Carson showed that humor and intelligence could coexist, and that became a guiding principle for Joe. Stand-up comedy, however, was a different beast. Unlike monologues on television, stand-up demanded vulnerability, endurance, and resilience. Joe recounts his first experiences performing in New York after college. Those initial years were grueling. He faced depression, not from chemicals or biological issues, but from life itself. No money, no comfort, no relationships, constant rejection, and the humiliation of performing for a handful of drunk audiences at 2 a.m. It was brutal. Yet, Joe kept pushing forward. Small moments of encouragement from older comedians fueled him. The drive to succeed, to avoid losing in life, and the determination to make it work kept him on stage night after night. Even on discouraging nights, he promised himself he would try again the next day, write new jokes, and improve. The turning point came on June 20th, 1980. He performed for 20 minutes in front of a lively crowd at a comedy club, and for the entire set, people laughed. That moment confirmed that he could do it, that he had the talent and the drive to make it work. From that day, his path was set. Comedy was his craft, his challenge, and his mission. Over the years, following politics closely, growing up with a newsman father, and constantly observing the world shaped Joe's perspective. Even in today's politically charged environment, he remains realistic. While he finds the current state of the country discouraging and sometimes frightening, he acknowledges that engaging with leaders and participating in dialogue is critical. Joe explains that talking to powerful figures, including presidents, is not about elevating them unfairly. It's about honest engagement and making a difference. Many people misjudge him for speaking to controversial figures, but he sees it as a smarter approach than simply avoiding conversation. Experience has shown him that direct communication can influence decisions, even if only slightly. And while he has strong opinions about certain actions he dislikes, like massive military budgets, harsh enforcement policies, or controversial foreign interventions, he also recognizes accomplishments that should not be ignored, such as efforts to bring hostages home or work towards peace deals. His philosophy is that discussion, not avoidance, is key.
When it comes to Donald Trump, Joe is clear-eyed. He acknowledges that Trump drives people crazy, often for good reason. He admits that some of Trump's actions are deeply frustrating, from certain budget decisions to harsh enforcement policies and aggressive rhetoric. But Joe also points out that Trump is complex. In private conversations, he is different, charming, attentive, and open to discussion. Joe stresses that engaging him directly can achieve more than avoiding the conversation altogether. He believes that talking to leaders, even controversial ones, helps ensure that ideas and concerns are heard. It's about influence, not idolization. Joe shares that politics is often like being in a bar fight. Everyone is aggressive, defensive, and ready to strike. But despite that, he has found Trump to be responsive in calm discussion. He points out that many criticisms of Trump come from emotional reactions rather than thoughtful analysis. People may be quick to judge, but Joe believes that honest dialogue is far more productive. He also notes that Trump is not rigid. He's willing to adjust his views when presented with reasoning or debate. In Joe's experience, this is a rare quality in modern politics, and it underscores why engagement matters. Beyond politics, Joe reflects on the journey of becoming a comedian. Stand-up is grueling, and the first years can break you if you're not resilient. He recalls countless nights performing in small clubs, often to uncaring or hostile audiences. Yet, persistence paid off. The joy of finally hearing laughter for a full set, the realization that his craft worked, and the small support from mentors fueled his growth. For Joe, comedy was never just about telling jokes. It was about understanding people, connecting through humor, and sometimes challenging assumptions. That balance of insight and entertainment has defined his career. He also touches on the shifting landscape of late-night television. In the past, hosts avoided politics to maintain a broad audience. Today, many shows cater to one side of the spectrum. Joe emphasizes the importance of addressing all viewpoints, not just preaching to the choir. He believes in speaking honestly and authentically, even if it means polarizing some viewers. By staying true to his perspective, he can reach a wide range of people and encourage thoughtful discussion, rather than just generating applause or outrage. Joe shares stories about his influences growing up. Watching Johnny Carson every night was transformative. Carson wasn't just funny, he was clever, graceful, and had a magnetic personality that drew viewers in. Young Joe saw Carson as a model for sophistication, wit, and charm. He wanted to emulate those qualities while adding his own voice. Stand-up comedy taught him how to handle rejection, develop resilience, and cultivate his own style. The lessons from early performances, the struggles, and the victories all shaped the comedian and thinker he became. He concludes with advice for aspiring comedians and observers of politics alike. Don't shy away from difficult conversations, even with people you might disagree with. Honest engagement is more valuable than avoidance. In comedy, don't be afraid to expose yourself to criticism because growth comes from persistence and learning from failure. Joe's journey shows that combining curiosity, courage, and commitment can lead to both professional success and a deeper understanding of the world. For viewers of Global USA News, the story of Joe is a reminder that humor, politics, and honest dialogue are interconnected. Whether in the comedy club, on television, or in the halls of power, engaging thoughtfully with ideas and people, even those you find challenging, can make a real difference. Laughter isn't just entertainment, it's a bridge to understanding, and conversation, even with disagreement, is never wasted. Joe's experiences demonstrate that staying true to your values, being persistent, and approaching life with both humor and intellect can help navigate the most difficult circumstances. From those first nerve-wracking stand-up performances to thoughtful discussions with political leaders, his journey reflects resilience, courage, and the power of speaking honestly. Every joke, every monologue, every conversation carries meaning. Every interaction is an opportunity to learn, to connect, and to influence. Comedy and politics may seem worlds apart, but for Joe, they are deeply intertwined. One teaches timing, observation, and connection. The other teaches nuance, patience, and strategic thinking. Together, they create a lens for understanding society. And in today's polarized world, voices that combine insight, humor, and courage are more important than ever. That's why conversations like the ones Joe engages in, whether on stage, on television, or in private conversations with influential leaders, remain crucial. For anyone following Global USA News, this story is a testament to perseverance, intellect, and the importance of engaging with the world honestly. Joe's life reminds us that challenges, rejection, and discomfort are all part of growth. Whether in comedy, politics, or daily life, the principle remains: keep showing up, speak your truth, and never underestimate the value of dialogue. From New York comedy clubs to late-night television stages, from political discussions to private conversations with leaders, Joe has maintained a clear focus on authenticity. He listens, he observes, and he participates. His story is not just about making people laugh, it's about understanding them, learning from them, and encouraging others to do the same. Comedy, politics, and life all intersect in ways that challenge, inspire, and entertain. This is the story of a comedian, a thinker, and a citizen who refuses to stay silent. His experiences show that courage, humor, and engagement can make a difference. For viewers of Global USA News, this story is a testament to perseverance, intellect, and the importance of engaging with the world honestly. Joe's life reminds us that challenges, rejection, and discomfort are all part of growth. Whether in comedy, politics, or daily life, the principle remains: keep showing up, speak your truth, and never underestimate the value of dialogue. From New York comedy clubs to late-night television stages, from political discussions to private conversations with leaders, Joe has maintained a clear focus on authenticity. He listens, he observes, and he participates. His story is not just about making people laugh, it's about understanding them, learning from them, and encouraging others to do the same. Comedy, politics, and life all intersect in ways that challenge, inspire, and entertain.